Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another round of Rush Racing League. It is Division number 3, and we'll see who's hungry in Hungary as we get ready for the second 100% race round of the season here. We've already had quite a few divisions take to this track, and now it is time for Div3 to show what they're made of. My name is Patrick Ullman, aka Rekis, and I'll be one of your hosts and commentators for tonight's Grand Prix. Alongside me is the main man, Muzz. How you doing today, mate?
I am going pretty great, and I'm pretty hungry for this race, so it'll be interesting to watch.
I'm glad my usage of puns is beginning to rub off on you. But without any further ado, we're going to just jump straight onto the track as we do have drivers getting ready for our short quali here this time around. So it's still short quali. I know. Actually, I think it was for one of the original 100% rounds that we did earlier on in the season. I know it was actually a one-shot quali. But like it has been for most, if not the entirety of the week, it is short quali, so qualifying is still business as usual. One session to rule them all, and then it is 70 laps around the Hungaroring. Nicknamed Monaco without the walls, overtaking is going to be pretty tricky on this circuit, but I mean, if you can pick a good time to go for it, making a move down to start finish straight or into turn one can be pretty helpful. We've seen some moves being made before the turns 7 and 8 chicane, or even just before turn 3. So could be an interesting one here tonight, but it's going to be an endurance test. That is for certain. Right, so quite a few drivers do have qualifying bans. That's why Brian, the Mercedes TP, has retired, and I believe there are two other qualifying bans on the docket here, Muzz.
Yeah, exactly. So unfortunate for those drivers that they have to use it this week on a track where it is so hard to overtake, and it'd just be so important the qualifying session because it's so hard to overtake, and only really positions being up for grabs on those first couple of laps. So it'd be important for the drivers to get as high on the grid as they can so that they can be obviously as high up on the grid as they possibly can, which is going to be vital for their race because of how long it is and of how hard it is to overtake around here.
Exactly that. So, two drivers have retired already, Buck and Bronco and Brian, both of which do have qualifying bans, so that's why they have opted to retire. It is a full grid here tonight. The remaining drivers, you have Tyler Mendavy, Hennessy, and Matty AU, Slushy, Huddy the Goat, Yay, Asif, Daz, Hugh, Breadman, Rise, Cristiano Ronaldo, aka the one, the only Wogjet, Dutch Verstappen, Funk, Spud Muffin, the Governor, Tazio, and Nishka riding at the field as Yay has done something that is not good, and he has somehow blocked the pit lane. Um, so you were saying that a quality ban was a tough way to start. How about a DSQ? That's gonna put you straight in the back anyway you look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously not ideal for them. Didn't have the best race in Div 4 a couple of days ago as well. So just maybe not the best track for them. But we'll see. The one bonus is it does give them a bonus chance to make sure they can talk with their engineer about how they're going to attack this race, especially now from the back. What kind of strategy are they going to go for? And also the same with Brian and Bucking Bronco as well.
Yeah, Hungary is not an easy track, so I don't blame them. This actually probably is my weakest track on this game. It's tough, you know. The name Monaco without the walls, it's a name that has definitely been earned for the circuit. It's very difficult, very twisty, very narrow, and some of the corners really just jump out at you with no real forgiveness. Really, it is. I know we say this about quite a few tracks on the calendar that they take no prisoners, but this track, it's probably one of the trickiest tracks to really learn. Once you get in once you get in the flow of things, it the track actually does have a nice flow to it once you get familiar with it. But until then, it is probably the hardest track to learn in the entirety of any of the tracks on the Formula One game. And myself and Kaus were actually talking about this during the Div 1 stream. And one of the things that makes Hungary even tougher for these drivers, because I know a lot of these drivers, they do race on other sim racers on occasion, if not consistently. I know ACC, Gran Turismo. I'm just gonna throw Forza in there. That's one's more of like a simcade. You got Forza in there as well. Regular Assetto Corsa, iRacing, R Factor, etc. Hungary is almost exclusive to the F1 platforms. Tracks like Spa and Monza in particular are pretty much on every platform known to man. Same with the Red Bull Ring. And actually, fun fact, the Red Bull Ring is actually on another EA racing game that you can still get. I think it's on EA Play for free. It's Grid Legends. You can run that race reversed in the snow with Fernando Alonso's R26. So those tracks have the benefit of being very common. So you'll see them quite a bit, and you have a few different sims to really build that muscle memory. With Hungary, not so much. So
Yeah, exactly. And that technical sector two, it can be very tough to get it right. I know that from my experience, it is very easy to lose the car. I think a lot of people find that that's the same as well. That first corner into sector two, that sweeping left-hander, it can be that's one that you got to be really brave on the steering wheel and on the throttle for how much you can hold on to it, because you can really easily spin it there. And a few of those later sections of sector two as well can be hard to get right. So it'll be interesting to see who can get them right in the qualifying session.
yeah, we've seen a lot of drivers already invalidate on this track. Nishka being one of them. The and he's been doing some full time stuff on iRacing, as I have just heard. So I mean, but yeah, once again, I mean, this track is not exactly a track that you can find on many, if any, other platforms. I know there's mods for Assetto Corsa. You can mod this track into Assetto Corsa. I think I had this track actually as a mod. Um, Actually, one time I did commentate for a 1988 version of this track for a custom touring championship, so that was fun. But yeah, I mean, it's still a rare track to really see. And also on top of the fact that this track is a 100% race, does make things really, really tricky for the drivers. And you got to keep that focus. You got to stay focused for 70 laps, about 80 minutes, give or take. It is a quick lap, as actually Nishka, speaking of quick laps, he is a singular thousandth away from Breadman on pole. So that's tight. So Breadman certainly, he's got the bakery turned on to full force here tonight, as he is currently in pole position with a time of a 1:15.9. Tanaman Davy now making his way through. And you said it, that Sector 2 is such a tough part of the track. That's where everybody's going to make or break their lap time or invalidate their lap time in general. So I think that's where everybody's really going to struggle to find that pace. Taking a look at the standings for Div 3. We'll go and talk about that a little bit as qualifying is underway. So, coming after last week in Jeddah, Breadman does lead the championship by a singular point. However, I do not believe his rival for the title is actually here. I don't think any of his title rivals are here. He's only 1 point ahead of Vettel, and Kaz, I don't believe, is here either. So, unless they're under a different name like Wogjet is at the moment. So, the only driver who I believe is actually in that would be considered a title rival, the only two drivers, have 78 points compared to Breadman's 100. So, Breadman really just needs to make the most of tonight. Because Tyler Davey and Dutch Verstappen are tied for points. That's going to be a fun battle to watch. They both have 78 points. And if this round goes well, they could see themselves jump way up the order, even potentially getting right behind Breadman if Breadman has a bad race. But Spud Muffin does take the top of the times at the moment with a 1:15.742. So, do you think Breadman is going to extend his gap to the lead, or do you think it's going to be a tough one here for the current championship leader?
I think it'll be a pretty good opportunity for him to extend his lead, and he has just taken provisional pole back from Spud Muffin. As we have seen how he's been able to keep it pretty consistent over the season so far, and with just how much of a gap he has, I don't think he'll be in too much desperation, which we have seen in the past where desperation can lead to mistakes. But because he's got that 22-point lead to Tyler and Dutch Verstappen, it's a pretty good buffer that he's got. So he's not going to be too scared about a comeback from any of them just yet. And with a 100% race, it's just going to be more important finishing the race, because there will be points available for everybody who finishes the race. So it'll be a good opportunity for him to extend his lead, I would say.
Yeah, and I mean, with it being a 100% race, the second out of three this season, the last one is going to be at Spa a couple of weeks from now. You really want to try and maximize the points because we're pretty much right at the halfway point of the season. We basically start the second half of the season next week, so it should be the aim should be really just to finish. And I mean, he doesn't need to do anything too crazy. He just doesn't need to pressure himself into a mistake, because I don't think even if say Dutch Verstappen wins the race and Breadman DNFs, I don't think Dutch Verstappen could even take the lead of the championship. Yes, he can most definitely close that gap up, but I don't think he would actually be able to take any position from him. So, Breadman really just needs to basically lock in and just keep himself out of the walls. That is going to be the absolute necessity for Breadman here. We're down to the last 5 minutes of quali here at the Hungary here in Budapest. And that dude just went full speed to the pits and then immediately just got slowed down to that 80 kilometers an hour that is needed. So that pit lane assist really coming in handy there for Wogjet. I mean, hey, especially with how brutal that 10-second penalty is, that could be a lifesaver. So Asif is going to be the next one to continue on his lap. Probably one of the last people to continue on lap before we hit the good old rush hour, as I like to call it. Just everybody going at the same time, trying to maximize the track while it's the most rubbered in that is going to be during this qualifying session, and trying to take that oh so coveted pole position. It's actually pretty tight between Breadman and Spud Muffin here at the moment. Hugh also within the shout as well. So the blue teams are doing pretty dang well here in Hungary.
Yeah, and because it's so close, to just even gaining like half a tenth of a second could put you up like one or two spots. And on a track like this, starting as high up as possible is the best. And with such a long run down to turn one, or spin for Rise on his flying lap, that's not ideal for him. Hopefully he's got enough time to get back in and go back out for the rush hour. But with such a long run down to turn one, positions will change straight away, basically. So yeah, we'll need to see who can get the best of the starts come race time.
Yeah, I think getting a good race start is going to be very, very crucial. Especially because, yeah, like you said, it is a pretty long run down into turn one. So, I mean, you can hold on the pole position, but it is going to be difficult work, especially if somebody decides to do a little bit of bowling, which hopefully we don't see any of that. I like bowling, but seeing it happen in the turn one, lap one is just not ideal. I mean, it really could just shake up the entire race here tonight if we do see that. Um, but obviously, we don't want that to happen, and RIP the stewards that will have to deal with it if it does happen. I still have flashbacks, even though I was never a steward here at Rush. I still have flashbacks, and I'm sure if Lamb or Vettel are watching this, Div 4 Jeddah last season opener, 100% race, and I think it took them about 2 or 3 hours to actually get through steward reports. So hopefully that doesn't happen here tonight. Although Div 1 was mostly incident free, there was a few moments here and there, but I think in terms of just how long the race is compared to the incidents, that ratio is pretty small. So we'll see. I mean, obviously we don't have time machines, but we can see the time, and it is officially rush hour here, ladies and gentlemen. So everybody is going to go ahead and get going for their final quality laps, as Hugh has actually invalidated his lap, so he'll try to build up that battery and give it another go. Rapid fire prediction: do you think Breadman is going to continue on pole position, or is it going to go to somebody else?
I'd say that he will hold on to it here because I think that because he has the provisional pole for now, it doesn't mean he needs to push as much as some of the other drivers do who need to gain like a tenth or multiple tenths. They might spin, make a mistake, whatever it might be, to lose time where they're pushing to the absolute limit and even past the limit, trying to catch that time. So I think that he has got that buffer to hold on to pole, and if he can improve, then that will be even better for him.
Oh, a bit of a step there from Hugh as he goes way off the track, and yep, that's going to be his quality time done and dusted. So Hugh uncooked has actually overcooked it a little bit, as now we'll be on board with our current pole sitter as he does make his way through the racetrack. He's making his way down into turn 4. A very quick corner deed into the bubbling turn 5. And then now he's going to go pedal to the metal all the way to the really tricky turn 7 in a chicane. Those curbs can really unsettle your car if you're not too careful. As he does go through the S's here. Making a run down into turn 11. We'll see what the sector split is. Nishka on provisional pole by 17 milliseconds. We'll see if he can keep it there. Tazio right up there as well. So Alpine looking very strong here at this stage of quali. Making his way through turns 13 and 14 now. He is going to come across the line. Is it going to be provisional pole? It is not actually. He's going to jump his teammate by 4 thousandths, but he is still going to be only 1,300 or 1,300ths off of that pole time set for Nishka. But somebody in the chat did question earlier, is Nishka going to be able to hold on, or is he going to bottle it like 2024 Lando Norris? We'll just have to see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see it because, like you said about bowling earlier, immediately in 2021, it comes to mind with I think it was Lance Stroll and Valtteri Bottas. They went bowling into turn one, and so maybe that'll be Nishka's job if he doesn't get the best start from the ideal position to start the race.
But yeah, right now it is going to be Nishka on pole position. And yeah, everybody's done. So Nishka getting pole position here in Hungary. And we will see if he can hold on to it, if he can be the cork in the bottle, or if he's the entire bottle. We'll just have to see here. Nishka will want to be that cork in the bottle to really just hold everybody back and just take the lead and try to run with it. Try to get some valuable points for Mercedes, as the overall battles are still very much red hot here. Take a look at the constructors for Div 3. It is going to be, and it's an interesting picture because Alpine right now are in a really good spot, but only about 8 points ahead of V Carb. So, actually, sorry, they're 6 points ahead. But, anyways, we can do math later, but right now it is time to see our quality results. It is Nishka and Breadman, Tazia, Spudbuff, and Hennessy, Funk, aka Toe, Hugh, Cristiano, aka Wogjet, and then Huddy, Maddie, Dutch Verstappen, Tyler, Rise, Slushy, Zig Governor, Asif, Daz, and then the two drivers with quality bands of Buck and Bronco and Brian, and Yay, who got DSQ'd for parking it in the pit lane. So, some rough stuff there, but the battles are red hot here. For the overalls, for the constructors, Alpine does lead, but by less or just over 100 points to their name, and but which sounds like a lot. Sounds like a lot, but when you consider it is 5 divisions that count towards that total, it's really not a lot of points at all. So Alpine though looking very strong here in the opening stages, and unlike Div 1, it is a very shiny track out here. So it'll be mediums and hards for the day ahead.
Yeah, it was. I think the top 14 and 15 were all within a second in qualifying, so that is a lot closer than you probably would have thought. But we'll see who can take the lead into this long run down to turn one, because Nishka will lead us away. We'll see if he can hold on to it. A few drivers possibly starting on slightly faster tyres just to get that edge at the start of the race.
All right, but here we go. Time for those 5 red lights to go on. And it is lights out and away we go here in Hungary. Some drivers already trying to jockey for position. Nishkado not exactly bottling it right now. He got the best launch he possibly could. As Breadman is gonna get the move done onto his teammate Spud Muffin, falling a bit of the way down the order. And it is gonna be Spud Muffin ahead of Hennessy. Those two going side by side, going through the turn. And we're going to see if he could go ahead and hold on here. No, there may be an end play gone at most, but no major damage coming into lap 1. So nobody went bowling this time around, which is always amazing to see. But here we go. Drivers are trying to jockey for position. This guy actually got a really, really good start to this one. So if he is bottling it, then, I mean, playing the long game for that, but right now he seems more like a bottle rocket versus just a bottle job himself. He's still building out a consistent, like, about 6/10 of a second gap, actually a bit more than that now. So Breadman is going to do his best to keep him honest, but right now Nishka does lead, and he looks like he's dialed in.
Yeah, and he got a great start, great launch, and wasn't challenging the turn one. and I was just looking all the way back through the pack through the first couple of corners and a few 3 wide moments, but not even really any contact to talk about either. So that is ideal if you're one of the Div3 stewards. Then
Oh, three
no
wide.
penalties so far.
Sorry for that. It was, I think both of the Haas's, yeah, both the Haas's and Matty AU scrapping it out, going 3 wide, going into turn 3.
Yeah, it was pretty similar to lap one then, because there was definitely a few 3 wide moments up and down the field, but yeah, no contact to speak of. So that is good to see, especially if you're Nishka, who does not probably doesn't want a safety car because he wants to just wander off down the road and do his own thing. And maybe if you're like Nishka, what he's been doing lately, get some iRacing on another one of his monitors.
Yeah, exactly. So Nishka and Breadman have pretty much already checked out at this point. They are both out of DRS range. To Tazio, currently P3, and Nishka does set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. DRS wasn't able to last lap. There's only 2 DRS zones though, so down the start finish line and also pretty much right after turns 1 and 2. So not a lot of DRS zones to work with here. It'll be interesting to see once like the new regulations come in when that F1 26 DLC comes in, and it's expected around June, to see where the straight line modes are placed. So the straight line zones will be an interesting one around this track. I think you might get about, I'd say you probably get like 2 extra zones, probably right before the beginning of sector 2 and then right at the beginning of sector 3, I would say. Just those little straight lines at the top and the bottom of your track map. Breadman is still chasing down Nishka for that position. A bit further down the road though, Huddy is trying to make life so difficult for Matty AU. Trying to put a lot of pressure on to the green machine Aston Martin. As we'll take a look at the tire compound, see what everybody's running here. A pretty good mix of medium and hard tires just down the field. So, and I mean, the strategy is gonna be pretty crucial here. It's probably gonna end up being a 2-stop. So, what do you go? Medium, medium, hard, and oh, look at this, Matty AU just sending one up the inside, going into, oh, big snap there from Huview. Huview overcooked it a bit there, as it's gonna be Huddy and him going wheel to wheel, and Aston Martin is also gonna have another wheel to wheel moment. Dutch Verstappen and Cristiano Wagjet gonna go ahead and go wheel to wheel. A lot of wheel to wheel here right in this midfield. So this is exciting stuff. Huview now gonna go ahead and lose a position out to Tyler Mendavy, as these drivers are all trying to find their footing. And oh, we have a bit of a moment. Spud Muffin, I think, had a bit of an off there right before turn 7. So I mean, it's very easy to do on this track, especially right there, because, I mean, sausage curbs and these ground effect cars do not mix very well at all. Huview is still going to try to put pressure on the Tyler Mendavy, but Tyler himself is putting pressure on the Spud Muffin just up the road as Brian and Asif trade for position. The one thing I wasn't expecting, Breadman thinking about a lunge here up into turn 1. Not quite, not enough real estate there to make that work. But the one thing that I am surprised about is that we're having so many battles here. It is the opening stages here, but these drivers here are punchy here in Div 3 tonight.
A little bit of that is the tires that people started on, maybe the mediums starting to not run out, but the hards just turning out to be the better tire at this point, after probably a few of them dropping a little bit further back, like Fonk most notably dropping back quite a few positions off the start, but then he's looking to reel them back in and is doing a pretty good job of it so far. But yeah, I think a lot of those battles is just tire offsets. not from laps, but just from the different tyres that they're using and different people with their tyre management, and that is just letting people reel other people back in after a poor start, or just people pushing off the start and looking to save later on when they can't make moves later in the stint. But it'll be interesting to see what people can go for, because I think a one stop is very, very hard here, because I know a few people have tried that in the other divisions and it not working out for most of them just because of how many laps it is.
Yeah, and Hungary is kind of like, at least in my experience, it's kind of like a medium degradation track. It's not really like known for like generational tire drag like Barcelona or Qatar, which we are headed to Qatar next week. So it'll be back to normal race, but it is still gonna be tire degradation purgatory for those drivers. So it's gonna probably be a two-stop there for Qatar. The dry dozy plus the fact that the track was really made for MotoGP and not Formula One does add to that. But still some really close battles happening here. These drivers are hungry for these positions as Breadman's still trying to chase down Nishka here, trying to find some kind of opening, waiting for Nishka to make a mistake of any kind here as we begin lap 7 out of 70 here. And he's going to close in the gap, but still just too much between them for Breadman to try to make a move. But he really is not going to, he's probably not going to loaf around too much. He'll probably try to force this move at some point here tonight. So Breadman really needs to try to close down the gap and try to, at minimum, keep Nishka honest. Because they say diamonds are formed under pressure, but you know what else is? Mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we saw that in real life as well with the race here, where Lando Norris did win on that one stop, and just from the lack of overtaking opportunities, he was able to hold on to the win from his teammate, just because he had to probably go for a few audacious dives into turn one, which obviously didn't work out because Lando still ended up winning the race.
You know, as a commentator, there's one thing that you'll never learn how to properly do, and that is unmute yourself. Um, but yeah, exactly. We've seen dive bombs on this track really just not work like they are intended to. I mean, we saw 2024 Max Verstappen try to make an overtake onto Lewis Hamilton and just knocking his car straight up like it's a Rocket League get it. So, I mean, you gotta be bold to make overtakes on this track, but sometimes you could be a bit too bold and you could just send it too deep and send it straight to the Mariana Trench, and that could be race over in some cases. So you don't want to overcook it, but at the same time, you almost kind of have to get something done here in Hungary, just because the overtaking opportunities are so few and far between. So you really need to be, you need to be brave. You need to send it, but you send it too hard, and you're gonna just send yourself straight to the pits or straight to the retirement home. Either way, it is tough to get overtakes done on this track. That's why it does have the nickname of Monaco without the walls, as Dutch Verstappen is gonna try to put some pressure here on to Wogjet. And we'll see if he can go ahead and try, but Cristiano is going to be putting QV under pretty good amounts of pressure into one of two DRS zones. He'll be able to really close in the gap. I thought he was actually thinking about it. It probably crossed his mind, but making the smarter move to just wait it out as Brian gets one on to the Governor. So the Governor looking to fire back, but it is going to be Brian just with the overspeed, locking that position in for right now. And something that I know the drivers are going to be thinking about as well is that it's a long race. It's a 70 lap race, so you're not going to win this on lap 10. And I was just thinking about how we have yet to see the track limit violation penalties. And there's one right there. The Prancing pranced a little too hard. And it is a 3-second time penalty for Rise, who was trying to get a move done on into Asif. Getting a little too punchy here at this stage of the race.
Yeah, and just as we've been watching that, Hennessy has actually just been clawing back the gap to the top two and is now within the DRS of Breadman. And Breadman just hovering around that gap. Nishka just breaking away over the last few laps, but maybe Breadman getting the hustle back on, getting back into the DRS of Nishka ahead. But Hennessy has been clawing back that gap. But I wonder how much he has had to use his tyres in the process of that. So maybe we might see Hennessy go for an undercut if he has been pushing his tyres more than he needs to. And the undercut on this track is very, very good. But Hennessy might even be looking to make a move on Breadman over the next few laps, I would say.
Yeah, so with Hennessy he's in a good spot because I mean he was pretty much out of that DRS range for quite some time. Now Breadman is out of the DRS range, and sitting in the dirty air on this track can really it can really burn your tires out because dirty air does increase the temps, which in turn increases the tire wear. So I think you actually made a pretty good assumption here. I think Breadman might have just burned up too much of his tires. So those medium compounds are really just going to struggle for quite a bit. Hennessy is up 2 positions from where he started. The driver who's made the most moves is the Mercedes of Brian. He is up 6 positions from where he started. Chasing down Dutch Verstappen for another position, as he is going to try to close him down. Try to go to close into the McLaren man as he is behind Wogjet still. Hennessy is still well within DRS range, but you really got to be within about 4/10 of a second to even have a semblance of an overtaking opportunity down that start-finish straight, or maybe even into turn 1. So, I mean, Nishka isn't exactly running away with it, but he's not under any real immediate danger either. So, I think Nishka, I mean, he's in a better opportunity, a better position, I should say, to manage those tires because he is in the lead. He does have clear air, not even remotely running into traffic at the moment. Hennessy, though, he's going to be in the dirty air of Breadman, so his tires are going to start going at a bit of a quicker rate. So we'll see if he can hold on to those mediums. The big question is, when are we going to start expecting our first stops? So I don't think anybody is going to try to go halfway or try to do a one stop. So maybe around, what I think is you could probably do, I would say you could probably go 20 and then 30 and 30 is probably, or no, sorry, that's not math. That would be for about 80 laps around this track, which I'm pretty sure the drivers are more than content doing 70. So probably around lap 15, we might see somebody switch onto the hards, and then it could go medium, hard, hard, probably.
Yeah, that's probably pretty realistic. I know that these hard tyres in my race in Div 4, I managed to take these hards about just over 40 laps, I think, because I had to make an early pit stop. Didn't want to make an extra pit stop over the course of the race, so you can take these tyres as long as probably about 45 laps if you need to, so you can go halfway. But obviously that's not ideal because your tyres will drop off, but these hard tyres can last quite a while on this track. So that's just why we got no idea what the final standings are going to be for this race, because because it's such a mix of tyres over the grid, it is going to be hard to know who's going to get the strategy right.
Yeah, strategy is about half the battle, especially when it comes to the 100% Grand Prix, because you gotta think more long term. The tire wear is different, the tire wear ratio is different, but here we go. It is gonna be Brian trying to make it 7 positions on the night, as Dutch Verstappen actually did get the move done on to Cristiano. Cristiano under a bit of pressure now from Brian. So Brian is going to try to close in the gap and try to make it 7 positions here on the night. Very good run of form for him at the moment, as Ye is actually in the pit. So he'll be swapping out some tires here. So the Gulf Williams is out on a set of hard tires, so he's definitely going to do the medium hard strategy. If you say hard too fast, it sounds like you're saying har, which makes me feel like a pirate. Um, which I know some people, especially when this track is wet, sometimes they may want to describe their car as a pirate ship, but the drivers are not sailing the seven seas, they are sailing the Hungary, which is a track that's remained pretty much been almost unchanged since it opened. Asif now will join the penalty club. He does get a 3-second run, and I think Ye has one as well. So we're starting to see these penalties kick in around this track, and that was one of the tricky things too, because we saw quite a few invalidations during quali in those same exact things that will give you an invalid lap will also add up to getting a penalty if you're not careful. And I mean, I know after 70 laps, if even the commentators are tired after 70 laps and all we're doing is yapping about this race, imagine just, I mean, I know you got experience, Muzz, but just driving in this basically 80 to 90 minute race just straight. No breaks, no teammate, like car swaps like it's in a World Endurance race. Just you, the track, and your engineer. Your engineers are good. You and your engineer are definitely like, gonna have a lot of bonding time around this track.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a road trip.
And before we go any further, we have had an onboard request for Brian from Zombie. So if we can get that, that would be great. But yeah, like you're saying, yeah, it is hard to hold on to the race this whole time, the 70 laps. And I think we do quite often see some drivers just retiring in the pits just because they just get really bored. I know that with me, I was in no man's land basically in the entire race. So I was definitely struggling, having no sort of entertainment whatsoever. Which is why I think some of these drivers are having good battles, just because it's keeping them entertained. Obviously, they don't want to be in battles because it can damage their tyres, it can give them damage to their wing, to the side pod, whatever it might be. But they're definitely giving us a good show in the commentary box.
Exactly, as we have started the onboard lap. We'll do 2 onboard laps. We'll do one where we just focus on the drive itself, and then we'll do a bit of a more traditional one. But yeah, Brian is, I mean, he's got a front row seat to a really fun battle here just up ahead. So he's going to watch this McLaren and the V car fight it out. Really trying to find anything, any kind of purchase. So we'll go ahead and see as he does make his way down into turn 1. He's got Dutch Verstappen to Huview. Ooh, that is scary. Huview and Dutch Verstappen go side by side. Coming through, and Dutch Verstappen making a little bit of contact with Huview. He did have the DRS, so he will clear it. Brian trying to go a bit wide, trying to find trying to even capitalize on the mistake here. Oh, he once again shakes for a move, doesn't quite get it there. He's going to try to settle in. He goes through turn 5. The dirty air is going to wash him a bit wide. Huview might have cooked his tires a bit too much because he does seem to be snapping quite a bit through a lot of these corners. as he does make his way through turns 7 and 8. Brian now really trying to work that Mercedes. He's really just watching Huvie like a hawk, trying to wait for him to make any kind of mistake for him to really lose out on. But it looks like Brian is just trying to stay a little bit back. He still wants to stay within DRS range so he can try to pull in and try to get the move done onto Huvie. Huvie running a bit wide, so Brian is on the better tires for this stage of the race as he comes across the line. Still trying to chase down the Visa Cash Out Racing Bull. He's going to look to the inside. Doesn't quite get it, but with the DRS, he can set this move up. Oh, he's going to try it going into turn 3. Not quite. I mean, the audacity was there, and it did look like a pretty solid move there, but Huvie just a little too far ahead for that one. As I believe my co-com has actually pulled a me and forgot to unmute, but
Indeed, I have done that. That is my bad. But yeah, that is just the reality of this track. You just can't quite get close enough to make a move. Like just getting them down to like 1 or 2 tenths by the end of the straight, but not quite close enough to make a move. And that's just the reality of this track. And I know I've said it in the past, with some people having to get creative with an overtake towards the end of a race, but realistically all the overtakes in this race are probably a little bit creative, as we have had the second pit stop, sorry, because we did have a few before. That is Tyler coming into the pits. And what are you noticing, Wreckers?
I'm still watching Huvie and Brian. Brian does make the move, so he does get up another position. So I think Brian is definitely going to get driver of the day here today, because he is just, I mean, he has a quality band, and he's up 9 positions here on a track where overtaking is so tough. As Asim now joins the penalty club here. 3-second time penalty for track limits, and actually, I'm going to check. That is actually an additional 3 seconds, so, I mean, if Brian can go ahead and make a podium happen here, you know what, here, if Brian does make the podium, I say we should make Brian do a shoey. Like, we'll get a video of it. I'll somehow get it to the Rush Instagram, post it on the Rush Instagram, if Brian can get a podium here. So that will be a fun bet. I mean, he's got the pace right now. He's actually up in the 7th now, but that is with the caveat of drivers making a pit stop, and Asif is actually out of the race, so we have lost 1 driver. But with it being a retirement in the pits, there will be no safety car. So we are back to racing as usual. Jumping up to the front now, it is Tazio trying to put pressure on to Hennessy. And we'll probably see quite a few of these drivers make pit stops here sooner rather than later. Although Tazio won't, I don't think, because Tazio's he's on a hard compound, so he could probably go a bit closer to 25 laps on these tires. So he could probably go 25, and then run a set of mediums for 20. And that should put him pretty much right at 70. So, but the one thing we haven't really discussed yet is the fact that a safety car could really just shake up the entire dynamic of the race and the pit strategies in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did see in the last lap, Breadman did come in, so we'll see where Hennessy comes out in relation to Breadman. Breadman going for the undercut. Where is he? They're going to be really close going to be even side by side, not quite. Hence, he just having his nose ahead. Breadman's going to try and fight it around the outside, gets the better traction on the better tyres at this point, and does get the move done. So I think he holds on to the move, so maybe not the undercut working the best for him there. Maybe had a little bit of traffic on his outlap that came in just before he got onto the straight, but he does manage to hold on to the position. So it'll just be a matter of when does Nishka come in and where will Nishka come out relative to these two.
Yeah, so I think Nishka is really going to be the. Oh, you don't have to wait too long to find your answer because Nishka does come in this lap, coming in on lap 20, right at the beginning of lap 21, as Nishka is going to go ahead and pull into the pit box. Throwing on a set of hards to the surprise of absolutely no one. I mean, that's kind of like the main strategy for this track. If you start on mediums, you're going to go medium, hard, hard. And otherwise, you'll probably go hard, hard, medium. So 2 hards in the medium is probably going to be the tire strat for the Grand Prix here. As Huview is now in a very tight battle, kind of splitting Breadman and Hennessy at the moment. So this could make things really spicy here. We'll stay on board with this battle for a little bit. Hennessy trying to get past. He needs to get past Huview sooner rather than later. He's going to try to look for a move. Wow, that would have been an optimistic spot to find a move going again the inside of turn 4. Turn 5 might have a bit of a better time for Hennessy, and we will see. Former champion here at Rush Racing League. Hennessy, oh, he tried to make it happen coming in turn 7, but just or turn 9 actually. That is just a optimistic move. Didn't. Whoa, that's a mega snap there from Huview. And, well, that makes sense. He's life a lot easier, but he did lose about 2 seconds to Breadman in that exchange. So, Breadman's already run away. Nishka's about almost 2 seconds ahead. So, and look where he came out. He's got his teammate for DRS. So, Mercedes playing the team game perfectly here at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was important for Brian to make sure that he was getting high enough up there so that he could make that happen. Because, you know, starting all the way down, like back row, I think he was, to hold on to that pit stop gap that Nishka had with basically everybody, and to come out behind Brian for Nishka's race will be very beneficial because he will just be able to maybe sit in the DRS, but Brian's in a little bit of a battle with Dutch Verstappen and Huddy, so see what happens there. Maybe some team orders have to come into play pretty soon because they'll start to lose time to Breadman. I think you can already see Breadman is gaining time on this battle ahead, so we'll see what Mercedes does.
We shall see indeed. They'll probably swap it on the start-finish line. Or maybe they'll swap it here. Oh, well, Dutch is in the pit, so they'll probably swap it on the start-finish line, I would imagine. I'd be surprised if they didn't. Or maybe, yeah, so, yep, that's a swap happening. So, and now Brian's going to make his car super wide, or at least try to. We know Breadman is going to try to take any opportunity that he can get. And it's going to be hard defense. Oh, contact! I think that's a little too much defense there for Brian as he does hit the side of Breadman. Surprised there's no real damage on either car. A little bit of extra tire wear for his troubles, but that is very scary stuff there. I'm sure Breadman is a bit less than thrilled. As Nishka now does have Huddy the Goat just up the road ahead. The 2 Haas cars and the other Alpine still need to make a pit stop. We'll go ahead and see who's made pit stops here. So a few drivers need to make pit stops at the moment. Daz, Huview, Brian, both the Haas machines, and Tazio all still need to make a pit stop here in this Grand Prix. You do have to run 2 different tire compounds here. It is expected to be a 2 stop for pretty much the entire field unless a safety car does come out. So if Nishka needs to clear, he needs to clear here, because if he does not clear Huddy in this corner, the following corner, then it's gonna be Breadman who's gonna definitely try to take it. Oh, this is gonna be dicey. Huddy trying to stick it, trying to spread the 2 out, but Breadman does get the move done. Huddy on older tires, and he had the 2 drivers with DRS just directly behind him. That was going to be an easy move to make for the pair as they continue to battle for their lead. Nishka now, he'll want to try to close down Funk, but Breadman is he's gonna try to keep him honest and try to make things very, very difficult for the pole sitter.
Yeah, so that was Nishka's gap basically disappearing when he's in that fight with his teammate, and the car's ahead of his teammate. And Breadman came out about 2 seconds behind Nishka, so able to gain that back. But looks like Nishka now in the clean air, is able to just outpace Bread. Has a 2-lap tire advantage on him as well. So an ideal situation for Nishka. Obviously, the 2 ahead on track have not pitted yet, so he's in the net race lead, and will be for until someone tries to make a move, or maybe if one of those 2 in the front try and go for a 1-stop. It will be tricky, but it is technically possible. So we'll see what those engineers of those 2 teams are thinking, and how quickly is Nishka going to gap Breadman, because I think he probably wants about a 2-second buffer to Breadman to make that a viable gap as Fonk locks up.
So the question is for Funk: is he listening to the typical car edit funk, or is it fast funk? I know there's 80 million different types of funk, more types than I can even cover what the heck the differences are between them. But ASIF has left the session, but Funk is missing a front end plate, so around this track that could be really, really tough to deal with. Tazzy is now in the pits, Funk in the pits as well, so this will re-promote Nishka to the lead of the Grand Prix, as Dutch Verstappen has also picked up a track limit pen of his own. So the McLaren man now jumping up to 3 seconds of time pens, which is not ideal, but it's just how the track kind of plays out. And speaking of McLaren, a tale of 2 cities, Hennessy just at the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So Hennessy loving life in the clear air. He's really got Huddy is behind him by about 3 seconds, and he is 2 seconds behind Breadman, so he's just kind of cruising in the clear air.
Yeah, absolutely. But Breadman is catching up to Nishka now, so maybe Breadman just pushing, or maybe Nishka made a mistake, didn't really see what happened there. But after basically all of the first pit stops, most of the people in very similar positions to where they were before, so no major overcuts or undercuts happening as of right now. I think Fonk was P5 before the pit stop phase, so we'll see if they can get back up there after the 2 drivers of Hugh and Huddy do pit ahead. But Nishka definitely notices that Breadman is there, have to definitely trying to get rid of the slipstream, and Breadman tried to, I think, even had a look down the inside into turn 1, and definitely putting the pressure on Nishka. Not many opportunities for an overtake, but we'll see how creative he can get as Huddy comes into the pits.
Yeah, so Breadman is definitely going to try to keep Nishka honest here in this one. He's going to do what he can to try to force him into a mistake, but Nishka has really held on pretty nicely here at the moment, and if that's a commentator's curse, then I'm gonna feel pretty bad about that. But Hennessy though is in this battle too now, so he's gonna try to make everybody honest. As we look at the tires here, he is on 7-lap old tires, so he's pretty much right in the middle of Breadman and Nishka in terms of tire life. So 1 lap can make a difference later on, but at this stage, it's really not super noticeable. You can definitely feel it, especially if you are one with your car, essentially, as these drivers put in so much practice to try to kind of learn the ins and outs of each track they race at, especially with these 100% Grand Prix. Hungary being a really tough track in particular, so I know a lot of drivers put in heaps of practice at this circuit. Huvie, though, I think Huvie is actually one of the drivers trying to stick with the one stop, which, well, I mean, Godspeed trying to get 30 laps out of these tires. He's only 4 laps away from doing it, though, so maybe, I mean, I I would have personally just went for the 2 stop, honestly. I would have not tried the 1 stop here on this track. Although, granted, I'm on controller, so my tire management is absolutely non-existent. As a bit further down the field, Cristiano trying to get one on the Huddy. Although Huddy is on fresher tires, so it's going to be a bit difficult for Cristiano to really try to make that one work. But he's got the DRS, so he can utilize that speed to try to close in the gap. But Breadman now still going to be... I feel like Breadman's actually under more pressure from Hennessy than Nishka is from Breadman. So Hennessy could really be a huge, huge, huge wild card in tonight's race. So keep an eye on that McLaren P3 because I think he can really throw a spanner into the works. Breadman and Nishka.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Hey, we could see the old George Russell just waiting for the two ahead to crash, and then he comes through and takes the win, just like we see from George Russell over the last few seasons. Fonk the fastest lap of the race, so on those new hard tires. Oh,
Hennessy's
Hennessy
out. He's
just
crashed.
We were talking about him. He's crashed, and that's a safety car. So hopefully that wasn't commentator's curse.
No, that was 100% the commentator's curse. That that is 100% the commentator's curse. Well, I have done irreparable damage to McLaren at the moment. RIP. I think that's my Discord moderator status in the McLaren Discord revoked. But it is part of life. It does happen. There's 2 types of commentators curses when you're a commentator for any sport, really, not even just F1 or any form of racing, but you have the commentators curses that are generational that can really shake up the race, and the ones that can shake up the race that just haven't happened yet. So, I mean, if you're a commentator and you say you've never commentated curse someone, first off, you're a liar, and second off, you'll probably do it within the next 48 hours. That's just how commentators work. I've actually got to a point as a commentator where I've actually commentator cursed somebody in person. I have actually done that. I have made a joke about like something as like a commentator and like my kind of like jokingly commentating for one of the go-kart races at the go-kart track I work at, and that person immediately spun out. So the commentator's curses do follow you literally everywhere.
Yeah, I think talking about the commentator's curse, yeah, you can't really do anything about it because you think about all the other times where commentators are praising drivers and nothing happens to them, but it's just when something does happen to them, it gets noticed. So
I think we
it's just unlucky.
I think we need to work on as like an end of season thing. We need to do like a commentator's curse like perfectly cut screams video. I think that could be pretty funny.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
So here's the question, right? What's going to take some unofficial bets? And this is a question from early on, this question came out during qualifying. What is the percentage rate that Nishka bottles it on a safety car restart?
Ooh, it's a tough one.
I mean, I don't think he's gonna bottle it personally. I think he's been very consistent here tonight, and I think that consistency is gonna continue on. That's gonna be my pick. I think Nishka will not bottle.
Yeah, well, it just depends when he wants to go as well, because if he goes before the final corner, it can be tough on colder tyres to actually stick on the racing line. It might go a little bit wide, and that can give chance to drivers behind.
Tazio has unfortunately been disconnected, so we will work towards trying to get them back in. But yeah, Phoenix actually does bring up a good point. I did have probably the biggest commentator's curse in Rush a couple of seasons ago. Back on F1 24, I commentated cursed an entire lobby with generational tech issues. We had It was a Austria round, and I think the round before we had some tech issues. So I said before the stream even started that we were gonna have no tech issues. 3 red flags later, and that kind of just started the trend of there's always one race that is just riddled with tech issues. I mean, Las Vegas earlier on this season, I think it was Div 5, I want to say, had quite a few tech issues as well. So yes, it is possible to compensate a curse an entire session, an entire lobby. So if you think that surely you can't compensate a curse in an entire lobby, it is possible. I've done it probably more than once, but that's the only time I can actually remember.
Yeah, it happens, and there's not really much you can do about it. And Tazio has been invited back to the lobby, obviously not in yet, because I think they're getting the unfortunate situation where their AI is pitting, which can happen quite a lot and is obviously not ideal for their race. So now Tyler is in P3, so we're talking about him earlier with a chance to maybe take some points off of Breadman's lead in the championship. So see what he can do on the restart as well.
Phoenix brings up a good point. You can really just commentate a curse anything. Um, you know, just use a little bit of that free. If you're a commentator or an aspiring commentator, use that free will. Go in and just start commentators cursing stuff and just random things in the real world. Tell that friend who's opening a Pokemon that you are not going to get that PSA grade 10 card. Just tell them that right off the bat. But all jokes aside, we're going to see how the restart goes. A lot of these drivers, or a good chunk of the drivers have opted to pit, and everybody, with the exception of Ye, is on the hard tire compound. Ye is the only one on the medium. He has opted to say nay to the hard tires, and opted to stick with the mediums at the moment. So we'll see how that plays into effect. As surprised the safety car hasn't actually came in yet. I mean, we got everybody but one driver back in. So I think it's just, yeah, it's just a Bronco. So I'm surprised that we aren't actually back racing, but we should be back racing at the beginning of lap 34 out of 70. So a little bit more than halfway left in this Grand Prix here at Hungary. So we should be going back underway here pretty shortly. But as it's right now, Your order is Nishka ahead of Bredman, ahead of Tyler Mendavy, ahead of Funk, Dutch Verstappen, Matty AU, Brian, Huddy Goat, the Governor, Spud Muffin, Hugh, Cristiano, Rise, Daz, Sushi, Tazio, Bronco, and Yay. And we lost Hennessy, who crashed and brought out the safety car, and then the retirement of Asif. So we've lost 2 drivers, down to 18, and these 18 gladiators will go back to doing battle here once we get back racing on, I think it should be lap 34. So hopefully lap 34 we'll get back to racing action. I think this restart's going to be pretty dang electric here, Muzz.
Yeah, I'd say so as well. See which drivers can warm up the tyres the best, and all drivers on the hard tyres, so see who can do it the best. But the safety car is in this lap. Do you want to take this one away, Rekus?
Indeed, I shall. So safety car is in this lap. It is going to be Nishka holding up the field, trying to go ahead and try to get the best jump on it, and particularly on Breadman to really get a move done here. He wants to prevent Breadman from even having a semblance of a move, and he's gonna just burn it around turn 14, and he's gonna go ahead and start things back off. It is lap 34 out of 70, and we are back racing here in Hungary. And if you're hungry for more, you're definitely gonna get more, as you're gonna get an all-you-can-eat buffet of action here. Fark tries to go up the inside of Tyler Mendavy, and he's not gonna quite get it he's on much fresher tires though compared to Tyler, but Funk is now still going to try to find out. Dutch Verstappen trying to put some pressure on to the Haas driver at the moment. Matty AU just behind, looking to put some pressure now of his own on the Dutch. He's going to go and try it. He's looking for one bit of a gap, trying to think about anything here at the moment. And we'll see if Matty can do it. Now you're on sector 2, which is almost impossible to pass in. You can pass turn 7 and 8, but it's a really tough one. It's really not even worth it 9 times out of 10. But it is going to be Brian continuing to try to put some pressure on to Matty as well. A lot of drivers trying to put pressure on, but Nishka has actually he's been super consistent here tonight. He's already broken out of DRS range here, as DRS will be re-enabled this lap here, Muzz.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned how difficult it is to overtake in that sector 2. Oh, Rise is out of the session.
And that's another one. Oh, he's crashed on the start-finish line.
Has he? Oh.
Yeah. So that's another full safety car.
That must have been a Sebastian Vettel almost did a few years ago when he saved it, but obviously Ra's not able to save it that time. But what I was going to say is that, especially in this part of the race where cold tyres are into play, you can make a switchback if someone goes wide into those fast S's sections there. But other than that, not really many overtakes happening in that part of the track.
Yeah, so now here's the question. Do we see Nishka pit? Do we see Breadman pit? Do we see anybody in the front make a pit stop here to try to maybe gamble and maybe try to get some fresh rubber on their car? I think somebody will.
This is probably around the point where you can make hards go to the end if you're desperate to. So maybe one of those drivers a little bit further back on maybe slightly older tyres already, maybe going for a gamble, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think somebody is gonna opt in for a stop here. I think, but it's probably gonna be close to about lap 40, because I mean, granted, we see the tire ticker on the left-hand side of your screen there. And that doesn't always tell the full story because, I mean, there's a good amount of laps on those tires that aren't even actual racing laps. So you burn up about, I think it's about like 50% less tire under a safety car, I think. So, I mean, those laps, some of those laps are actually just, like in the case of Nishka, they'd be about, realistic about 7 or 8 laps old in terms of racing, although he's put some laps on him, so. He put some racing laps on those tires before the safety cars came out, so I think definitely there's definitely some margin there for tire wear, but I think most drivers are probably even going to now try to wait till lap 50 to maybe try to do a medium hard medium potentially.
Yeah, or even depending on how long they can actually hold on to it, medium, hard, soft. If there's just going to keep being safety cars, or if drivers who have just pitted recently can hold on to their tyres, like people like Matty AU and Spud Muffin, if they can hold on longer, maybe they can make it last until the area where soft tyres will go to the end and then just fly back through the field in the process, because these obviously the safety car does hold up the field and make it all really close to each other. So it could be a potential strategy call late in this race if some of those drivers want to try and maximize their positions if nothing is really happening.
I mean, yeah, I mean the only way we'll just have to see how it goes. It's not over until it's over, and I mean the only predictable thing about racing is that it is unpredictable by nature. So we'll just really have to kind of keep an eye on how everything does play out, how everything rolls. But it is going to be a tough one to go ahead and manage. Tire strategies are really going to be. They're so. I mean, tire strategies coming in today were already going to be a bit of a tricky call. But then you had 2 safety cars in the mix. And probably a phrase you probably heard from some commentator at some point is safety cars tend to breed safety cars. So, and it really just like when you're in that flow state after about 30 or so laps of just straight running, you pretty much enter this state of just, where kind of everything just blends together really. Because you're in that flow state, you got your mojo, but safety car just disrupts that rhythm that you've built up over the last couple of laps. So you really need to just try to regain that rhythm ASAP, or else you'll be the reason why a third safety car comes out.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's why you see it quite often just coming out straight away. The safety cars in the lap again, and I'll let you take this one again.
All right, so lap 37 out of lap 70. A little over half race distance, but I know some of you might be a bit full, so you may be not hungry for more. But I know we are hungry for more as we're about to get underway for the next round, or the next little bit of time here at Rush Racing League. Round 9, Div3 is about to be underway. Nishka waits a bit longer this time to get back underway with the restart. And you can't retake or overtake on the start line. Tyler maybe had a bit of a snap there coming on the start finish line. Nishka did get a good launch, but Breadman, he's played these games before, so he's going to be pretty much right on the gearbox of Nishka, not letting him run away this time. Tyler Mendavid, though, is going to be under a little bit of pressure from Funk, who also had a really good restart. Dutch Verstappen might have been caught napping a bit there on the restart, so he's a bit further back. He'll fall into the clutches of Matty AU. Drivers are really close up and down the entirety of the field. So we shall see if there's going to be any overtakes. Ignore the display that says caution. There is no cautions anywhere on the track. It is just bugged. So we are back racing here for real this time in Hungary. And we are seeing some really tight battles. Brian now trying to maybe make a move here. And actually, it's going to be Huddy thinking about a move just a bit further back. Funk now is going to try to really close in the gap here. Nishka though has just been so electric on these restarts, and he's just been consistent all night tonight. So he might finally put those bottler accusations to bed here as we begin lap 39.
Yeah, I think he's definitely silencing the haters, but Fonk has gotten past Tyler on the start-finish straight onto lap 39, like you were saying, but Tyler on 8-lap older tyres than Fonk, but with the safety car has brought all the cars back together. We'll see if Fonk is on newer tyres than both Bread and Nishka, so we'll see if Fonk can even try to make an impression on these two that have been the same two for the entire race. So Fonk is currently looking like the one to watch right now.
I would say he'd be the wild card, but the last time I said that a driver was a wild card, he crashed in the next lap. So I will not say that he is going to be the wild card for this race. But Fonk has been really impressive here tonight, as it is going to be we'll see. It's going to be an interesting time here, as Fonk is actually really trying to close in the gap. So he's actually going to maybe try to make a move for second. He's got the speed. He's got the DRS. He's got the move. Maybe. Yes, he does. That move is as easy as you'd like it to be. And it's going to be a bit of a retake attempt there from Brenman, but just not quite enough. Fonk on the freshest tires of this bunch by actually a pretty considerable margin. He is up into second place here. You know what? I'm going to say it. If it's a competitive curse, I'm sorry to all the Fonk fans out there. But Fonk really is a dark horse in this race here tonight. And not to mention that he's just been an ever-present threat to somebody. And now that threat might just be Nishka.
Yeah, and he made that move look really easy in turn one. And if I remember correctly, Fonk started on hard tyres, so he's gonna have medium tyres to go onto in the final stint. So maybe looking even better for him. And already broken DRS in 1.3 seconds, the gap behind to Bread now. We'll see what Fonk can do. He does have a penalty, but we'll see what Fonk can do. If he sets the fastest lap, is he going to try and go for a move down the inside? Makes that look easy, already alongside and ahead on the apex of the corner. Can Nishka fight it back? A little bit of a slide from Fonk on the exit of the corner. Can Nishka fight it back around the outside? Fonk later on the brakes and holds on to the position. So Fonk now leading the race. Has got that penalty, so he wants to clear off down the road if he can. But we'll see what Nishka can do in this next lap.
We shall see indeed. Fonk needs to clear about 3 seconds if he wants to go ahead and get ahead of Nishka officially. But Fonk on those brand new tires, he's got the room to run. And like you said, he's going to be on the quick tire coming into the end of this one. So he should be in a pretty good spot to maybe even grab a win here. And that's going to be crazy stuff here if he can pull this one off. Nishka might have actually just bottled it. No, I'm kidding. Nah, Fonk is he's on a quicker tire at the moment. A newer tire. So Fonk, I think, might have actually just been playing the strategy game correctly here. As now he's actually broken DRS range of Nishka as well. So Fonk, I mean, I guess his Fonk music is loud enough to where he is just booming into the lead of this race. Brian now going to try to put some pressure onto Dutch Verstappen. A bit of a three-way fight here. Looks like it might be Haas's night, as Huddy the Goat is going to try to close in the gap and try to make some kind of magic happen here. Oh, he's just going to send one up the inside of Brian here on turn 2. Trying to make the run up to turns 3 and 4. And that is turn 4 done. But Buddy is still, or Huddy. Huddy is being Brian's buddy at the moment, trying to close in the gap and trying to make something happen here. But you're in sector 2. It's such a hard sector to try to line up an overtake. But that is crazy, crazy stuff here. And actually, we do have a onboard request for Funk. So when this next lap begins, I'll let you take this one away.
All right. No worries. He's just coming around the final corner now. We'll see what the gap is. 1.3 seconds when he starts the lap. We'll see what that gap can be like at the end of the lap. Pretty tidy through turn 1 for him. So we'll just see. It does have the newer tyres than Nishka, trying to extend that gap. Nishka gaining in the first part of the lap. Pretty tidy from Fonk so far. Through the fast left-hander. Pretty tidy through there as well. No notable mistakes so far. Just over the curbs. You can pick and choose through there if you want to take the curbs or not to open up your line more through the technical sector 2, the back half of it now, onto the little short straight before the final couple of corners. Nishka has gained on this lap, so maybe Fonk needs to start pushing a little bit more to break out that gap a little bit more. 2.5 seconds back from Nishka to Bread. Coming around the final corner for Fonk now. Pretty tidy lap from him, and probably lost only about 0.2 to Nishka behind.
Yeah, so a very good lap there from Huddy for the first couple of seconds before we actually switched to Funk. So when we got to the correct Haas, but yeah, a very nice and tidy lap from him, like you mentioned. So the gap to leader as it sits right now. So at the moment, Funk is only gonna lose 1 spot here. And oh, there is a caution. This time it's an actual caution. It's Bronco running a bit deep into the first corner, but he does not bring out a safety car. The governor does get a move done on to Wogjet. Oh, this is a bit of a spicy battle here right at the back. Tazio, who I think is on the freshest tires of this bunch, is going to be able to try to be feisty here. Cristiano going to go try to make a move on to the governor. And that is going to be crazy, crazy stuff if he can pull this one back off against the governor. And it is going to be Cristiano really trying to put pressure. He's looking really punchy here. Just trying to find something here. The laps are ticking down, so I think we're close to that stage where we're going to see the second batch of pit stops here. And speaking it into existence, Tyler Mendavi into the pits now. So he'll go ahead and jump into the pits. I think he'll be the only driver to do it on this lap. So he'll take a set of tires to the end. I think either set of tires can really do this one to the end. But it is going to be the hard compound tire onto the kick salver. Tyler needs to really kick it into high gear if he wants to try to make the most out of this compound. But yeah, it's going to make things really, really interesting. Breadman now actually gets passed up by Maddie, so Breadman must have made a bit of a mistake. Or he could have pitted. No, he did not pit. Maddie's on a 2-stop actually. He's already ahead of Breadman, so Breadman will have to probably make another stop. This has just been the night of surprise podiums. So, because we didn't even really mention Maddie AU hardly at all in the opening stages of the race. She's kind of had a bit of an anonymous race for the most part. But he's up 7 positions. Brian up 13. So some drivers have been really big movers throughout this one and really shaking things up here. So, and he might be looking for position number 14 on the night if he can get past Dutch here. Dutch will not at the DRS. This move should be easy as pie. Easy peasy lemon squeezy as he squeezes up into P5. this has definitely been a very good night for Mercedes, as it's going to be Huddy and Dutch Verstappen trying to see if they can make any kind of magic happen here. And this is a very scary gaggle here towards the back. Or actually, right here in
Yeah,
the
this
middle,
is
actually.
yeah, that's probably a better way of saying it, in the middle. But this track is really bad for dirty air, especially in sector 2, which they're all in now. We'll see who can hold on to it, and with all of them probably around the stage where they might be starting to feel a little bit of tyre wear, especially people like Zagovna and Nishka and Breadman and Dutch Staffen and Brian. Those guys are all on 20 plus lap old tyres, so any of them probably coming in anytime soon, maybe for some undercuts and going on. But we'll see if Huddy can get a move on Dutch Verstappen here. It's about 4/10. The gap between those two, Dutch Verstappen has no DRS. See, is Huddy going to try and make a move? Tries to send it around the outside, probably overcooks it a little bit, and Spud Muffin's going to get through on him, and Slushy waiting in the background as well to try and clean up any mess between any of those guys as well. So Huddy looked like they were going to make a move, but end up dropping down a position, overcooking it into turn 1. Maybe probably cooking those tyres a little bit more than he needed to. So we'll see what happens now, Rekus.
We shall see indeed. I mean, this is a really, really fun little bundle of joy that we are seeing here as they make their way through Sector 2. Really good battles happening up and down the field, which is pretty crazy considering what track we're at the moment. But Slushy now pretty much backing up this quad stack here, trying to lock it in, trying to use those wings that Red Bull gives you. Breadman is going to be the first one to pit out of the front runners, so we'll see where he comes out at. Breadman going to drop a little bit down the order here as he makes his way into the pit, already down to P9, P10. So chuck on another set of hard tires and make his way out. He'll fall pretty far back, actually. I think he'll fall about a P15. Shows you just kind of how close this race is. Although, to be fair, 2 safety cars will do that to you. They really haven't had a massive chance to kind of re-spread out, essentially. So, Spud Muffin now up into P6. Gonna try to look for a move on to Dutch Verstappen in the foreseeable future, as he is gonna go ahead and try to see if he can make some magic happen here. But the Williams driver, he's going to add another Jira task, and that task is to get ahead of Dutch Verstappen, making the most of the Atlassian products that his car is powered by, as he's going to keep trying to at least try to pressure Dutch into a mistake. Looks like Dutch might have had a bit of a snap there, so Nishka in the pits now. He'll probably jump onto another set of hard tires himself. And sure enough, that's exactly what he does. The number 91 AMG Mercedes back out on track. We'll see how far he goes. We'll see how he compares to Breadman at the moment. So, he comes out actually pretty well far ahead of Breadman. So, Nishka doing it right here as Tyler Mendavy is going to try to go get one on the dads. They're going side by side, making their way through turn 2. And it is going to still be holding on for dear life for Tyler Mendavy as he tries to chase down the governor. Nishka now on the freshest tires can really build up a gap. And this is really just our Breadman's race here. He's been in traffic that he hasn't really been able to clear. So this is really just done some serious numbers to the championship leaders race.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a few requests for some tyres in the Twitch chat, so if we can get that up, that would be great. But even Brad probably on the back foot, even compared to Tyler Mandavy right now as well. Tyler can go to the end of this race on that set of tyres, and Brad with a car between them of Daz, but Daz will have to pit at some point. Huddy and the governor coming into the pits as well now, so we'll see whether they come out as well. But Breadman now getting past Daz, which was vital for them. 2 seconds the gap to Tyler Mandavy, and then further 2 seconds to Nishka ahead. So this is the provisional, probably 2, 3, 4 in 10th, 11th, and 12th right now. But we'll see what happens with Fonk, what kind of strategy they're going to go with. Probably going to extend and go onto the mediums on the end, but if they try to go any longer, they'll probably start to be losing out to those three we just mentioned before. So we'll see what happens there, because I think Fonk is just riding on all that love from all of his fans in the Twitch chat right now. So see if Fonk can hold onto it compared to those three that I just talked about before.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one's really going to boil down to the tires and the strategy. Brian is in. So, and Funk does have to make another stop. He started off on the hard tire, I believe. So, he will have to make another stop here. But even if he doesn't, if he's on 45 lap old tires, then he's going to be struggling, as Huddy has been disconnected. So, we need to try to get him back as soon as we can, as Funk is going to continue to roar around in the clean air, which is going to be beautiful for his race. He's not going to get caught up in traffic. Nishka, though, is closing up to Tazio. Now, does Tazio try to play the defense card against Nishka for the sake of his teammate? That'll be the big question right now. And I'm pretty sure the answer is going to be a resounding yes. So Nishka are going to lose a bit of time trying to fight around the Alpine. Actually, he's going to try to go through, try to make it on turns 9 and 10. He's already punching. He knows this is a crucial pass he needs to make. Side by side, switchback attempt. And Nishka's got the boldness right now, but Tazio's got the defense. Tazio really holding on here and fighting Nishka with everything. He's got a little bit of a love tap there from the Mercedes man. And it is going to be Nishka just trying. Big spin there! That's a big spin there! I think that was contact. And he is parked. He was parked there. Oh, this is a really bad spot for the B. And the Code Browns are all over the place. That one might be under investigation from the stewards post-race. I couldn't exactly quite tell there was contact. I know there was a little bit of contact before the spin, but I don't know if that spin was contact initiated. So, Funk on a brand new set of mediums, just ahead of Nishka. Now, can Nishka hold on, or has the Haas team pulled off a strategic masterclass here tonight? It is lap 52 out of 70. Now, the real question is, we know those mediums are going to be absolutely lightning quick out of the gate, but can he build up enough of a gap to survive the fall off that those medium tires are expected to hit? That is going to be the big question indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll just be interesting to see, as yeah, we thought we might see it. Fonk did pit and is ahead of those three that we mentioned earlier, of Nishka, Breadman, and Tyler, and they're behind 5 people on 23 lap old tires basically. So we'll see what they can go towards, of about who of them have hard tires left and who of them have medium tires left. So, and maybe even if some of them are going to try and stick it out even longer, put the soft tires on. But we'll see what can happen there, because if there's a safety car now, people like Matty AU at the front, they We probably will have a safety car gap to some of those front runners of Fonk, Nishka, Breadman, and Tyler, so can probably put on a set of medium tyres and stay in the net lead of the race. So we'll see what they do.
I don't know if my ears are like hearing things, but did you just crack open a cold energy drink here, Muzz? I think I could just be
No?
losing it, but anywho, Fonk is definitely not losing anything at the moment. He is actually he might be losing a tad bit of time to Cristiano, who's gonna hold his position for now. So this could open the door for Nishka, as Fonk is gonna go ahead and try to move all the way up into P5 at the moment. And he will do just that. He's got DRS again, so build a bit of an extra gap. But here's the thing for Fonk, though. Fonk can win this race on track, but he does need to build a 3-second gap. So what he's going to definitely want is for Cristiano to really try to hold up Nishka here. That's exactly what he's going to want. And it's already working a little bit here, as it's about 2 seconds roughly to Nishka from Fonk at the moment, so he just needs an extra second. Nishka is going to try to get punchy, but that punchiness could spell disaster for the Mercedes man as he continues to try to get a move done around Huview, or sorry, not Huview, Cristiano. As he tries, and oh, Cristiano runs very wide there, so oh, that gap is right on the thin razor edge. But Fonk is gonna have DRS here, so he'll be able to extend that to 3 seconds. And he's in the slipstream now of Huview with the DRS, trying to make a move, but the Red Bull of Slushy is there. Oh, he gets caught up. He's right on the cusp of that 3 seconds. Huview gets past. Fonk is gonna try to get past too, but he's gonna have to fight it, as the Red Bull does put some defense in. A little bit of contact, a little bit of wheel bang in there, but it is going to be Fonk who does move up into the P4 position. But not enough, though. He's still got to try to build up that gap. Slushy, though, is going to try to continue to push on and try to fight it, but Fonk needs to get in that clear air sooner rather than later. He needs to make the most of these medium tires while he has them. Because if he waits too long to really fire up these mediums, he's going to burn them out. And then the whole advantage that he was going to have due to the alternate strat is just going to get chucked straight out the window, and Nishka will be able to close it back in. Nishka's already closed it into Slushy, so Fonk is trying. He's giving it the old college try. He's getting it A for effort, but just not been enough here. He's going to try to send it around the outside. Oh, this is risky business. Sending it around the outside of turn 14 onto Huview. And he will not have DRS, though. So he's finally in the clear air, though. But Nishka's got 2 other cars to clear. And he'll clear one of them. He will clear the Red Bull with no issue. But the V-Carb is going to be the next threat. Nishka no longer within that 3-second buffer. So Fonk is fast. He's been really cooking here tonight, but has he cooked enough to get the race win here? I don't think it's going to be enough. He needs Nishka to get either really stuck by Huview right now, or he just needs an ungodly amount of pace at this moment.
Yeah, and I think even Matty AU, if they want to, they can go to the end of this race. Only 14 laps left, and doing 40 laps on these tyres is a task, but it's definitely realistic. So, and he's got about 10 seconds of a gap back to Fonk, so can maybe hold on to it, and Fonk still has to pass them on the track. So we'll see if Matty might actually make the decision to stay out on these tyres till the end.
Yeah, I mean, that could work too. I mean, it's gonna be a tough one. He's still got quite a few laps to go, but we have seen crazier displays of tire management here at Rush. So, I mean, it's could be very interesting. Um, it's doable. It's definitely doable. But one thing to note is that Nishka is right on the cusp of that 3 seconds that Fog needs. So right there, it's close. Oh, he's hovering right around there. So Funk, he's in DRS, so that's his main saving grace at the moment, is that he is in DRS and Nishka is not. But he needs to clear Spud, because if he stays behind Spud for too long, then that dirty air is going to really cook up those mediums, and they're going to be more burnt than a $2 steak as he tries to stick around and try to. If he can get this move done here, then he's got a really good shot at winning this one. He's going to maybe try to dive it up the inside. He's got the move now. The switchback attempted, but Fox is going to have that DRS, so it's going to make things so difficult for the Williams to try to retake, especially on 28 lap old hard tires. And Funk is actually within a really good shot of winning this one. It's definitely well within the realm of possibility at the moment that he could win this race.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a betting man, he'd probably be your favourite as of right now. Didn't really talk about him in the first half of the race. Had a bit of a bad opening lap, and after starting slightly higher up the grid, dropped back a few spots, but then after the mediums of the other drivers around started to fall off a little bit, he gained some of them back, and an incredible strategy so far. We'll see if he can hold on to it. And if Nishka wants to try and fight him, he's going to need to get moving pretty soon.
Yeah, he needs Nishka just needs to fire on all cylinders now, as Breadman does get the move done on to Hughview, the Alpine driver, making his way back up the current championship leader. Now, Fog, he just can't stagnate. Fog does not, if he stagnates here, like the music genre itself kind of has, then he is going to be in a bit of a world of trouble. As Fog now, he really needs to try to get it. He's actually not quite within that 3 seconds, so Nishka can still win this one here. He's in DRS range of Spud. So, sooner rather than later, as we get closer and closer to the final 10 laps of the Hungarian Grand Prix, Funk is going to start feeling that bit of that tire burn off. So, the mediums will start to fall off here, as Nishka's hards tend to be the better tire late stage. But if he keeps getting stuck here behind Spud Muffin, then Nishka is in for a heartbreaking P2. About 3.4 seconds at the moment is the gap, as he is going to go ahead and go for it up the inside. That's as easy as you'd like it to be, and now we watch that gap like a hawk. 3.2 seconds at the moment. Unless Matty just stays out, this could be a Funk win right here, because Funk needs to stay about 3 seconds ahead. But Nishka's right on the edge though, so Nishka could pull it off, but those medium tires are going to start falling away sooner rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be tough. The hard tires are a lot easier to hold onto than the mediums around this track. About 10 laps to go in this race, and I just saw a few laps ago on the lower down side of things. Tyler Mendavi and Slushy, they had a bit of a side by side moment. Both went track in turn one, and they almost ran into the wall. But both of them obviously still running and still in the same position that they were. But Tyler Mendavi, I was talking about him before, potentially being one of the people to get back up through the field and potentially fight for a podium or a win has kind of slowed down his progress so far, is right under the wing of Huview and probably might make an overtake. He's got DRS, he's going to go to the inside later on the brakes for him and get that move done pretty easily, but he hasn't been making as much progress as he would probably like to.
Exactly that. So Tyler Mendavi does have a bit of a tough road ahead of him as we are down to the final 10 laps of the Hungarian Grand Prix here, and there is a very quick yellow in Sector 1. I think that was just a Alpine going a bit deep, but it is not going to change the dynamic of the race in any way, really. But now, actually, come to think of it, oh, actually, I just now noticed something. What the heck happened to Nishka? Because Nishka was well within that time frame, but now he's dropped off to about 7 seconds off of Funk. So what has happened there? Funk has come to Maddie, so I mean this is definitely Funk's race to lose. Has Nishka's bottling game played the long game? Are we now seeing the Nishka bottle in effect? That is the question. I was watching the battle with Tyler and Huview a bit earlier, and I just kind of missed whatever happened to Nishka there. And I don't think Spud Muffin's been that much off the pace where Nishka being unable to pass him has dropped about 7 seconds. So Nishka, I think Nishka bottled it. But that is not to say that is not to discredit Funk whatsoever, because Funk has definitely earned his position, 100%. He's looking likely to get another position here off of Matty. So, I mean, he's pretty much all gas at the moment, and that's off strategy, or this alternate strategy for Funk has really just done it. So, I mean, he's played the strategy game well, and it's really paid off dividends for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll probably see the change of the lead here. Yeah, there goes Fonk. Gets the move done before the braking zone. And that is going to clear, I think it's 3 seconds to Matty AU behind. But Matty AU looks like he's even trying to fight that one back. Nishka getting past Spud Muffin as well. So still potential of Matty winning this one with Fonk's penalty. We'll see what happens there, and Breadman looking to get involved on Spud Muffin as well. So Spud Muffin just starting to drop. He's got 33 lap hold. So does Matty AU. Matty AU isn't dropping off as quickly as we thought he might. So that's potential thing to see there. And if Fonk gets another penalty, this is all to play for.
I think it really is all to play for here, because as long as Matty just doesn't drop off significantly, which looks like he is dropping off a little bit, but not as much as, like you said, like we thought he would. But Funk is gonna try here. I mean, it's still all to play for here. I mean, as long as he doesn't drop out to that 3-second buffer window, then Matty he's got a shot at winning this. So, a caution in Sector 1. I think that was one of the V-Garbs. I think, yeah, Huview had a bit of a moment there. That would have been... I'm sure Funk would have saw that notification about the caution, and his heart probably would have sunk. Because, I mean, if a safety car comes out, then Funk's cooked. Like, just actually, like, there's no shot of him potentially winning this unless he has a lightning launch. But now we're going to see, I mean, I know, granted, yeah, the hard tires are already pretty much, they're not in their prime anymore at this stage, but neither are those mediums. So, but Funk is he's building out that gap bit by bit here, so gaining several tenths a lap. So, I mean, Matty could hold on, but I think Funk, I mean, the ball's in his court, so as long as Funk doesn't bottle it here, then, I mean, it's really is his race to lose here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And we didn't really think that about halfway through this race. Then all of a sudden he's just come out of what looked like nowhere to take the lead and is in prime opportunity to win this race. A bit of a 5 car fight. Or actually, I think one of them is lapped, but between Slushy, Dutch Verstappen, a few cars behind. Oh, a bit of a crash there into turn one under the braking zone between Slushy and Dutch Verstappen. And that'll be probably looked at. Doesn't look like there's any damage from either of those two, surprisingly. But yeah, we're getting to the latter parts of this race, and people definitely have to start getting creative.
Exactly. So, I mean, it doesn't take a lot to really change the whole dynamic of the Grand Prix here, as we are almost down to the final 5 laps of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Another 100% distance race nearly in the books for these drivers, as Brian is going to try to put some pressure onto Tyler Mendavy, as your podium right now is looking to be Funk, Matty, and Nishka, unless one of those drivers does get a penalty. It still could be all to play for. 5 laps to go here in the Hungarian Grand Prix, and as long as Funk does not get another track limit violation, then it is his race to lose. He's built out almost a 5-second gap to Matty AU. And with 5 to go, all he's got to do is keep it within the white lines. And Haas will get a win on the books tonight. And it pretty much just sums up what I said earlier. The only predictable thing about racing is that racing is not predictable. But what is this? It is Cristiano off right around turn 2. And I mean, if that brought out a safety car, oh, I think Funk would have been absolutely livid. But now he's almost built up enough of a gap where even if he did get another penalty, he could be able to still win this one out. So Funk's just got to keep his car out of the grass, and this race is pretty much his for the taking. Brian now still trying to put pressure on to Tyler Mendavy. This is for P6 at the moment. Brian now really trying to keep the pressure on. He's on the... It's kind of tough. The tires are probably about even now. He's on fresher tires, but it's medium versus hard. So those sometimes tend to cancel each other out. But he's got the DRS, though, which is a pretty solid equalizer. Gonna try to make it up the inside of one Tyler Mendavy. Tyler's gonna stick it on the outside, try to be defensive here. Outside does become the inside for this next coming corner, so Dutch Verstappen gets to move down on Slushy. Him and Slushy going side by side, but Claire the Red Bull side by side here. Trying to find out. Oh, that's the tap and a spin. Oh, a little bit of a spin. He catches it though, but that is also probably that might end up in the steward's room. Up at the front, Nishka has caught up to Matty AU, so Matty is still likely to keep that podium. But Nishka is really going to try to pile on the pressure and try to get into P2, maybe. And Ye has got a 10-tick ability for ignoring a blue flag. Don't see where that was. It's for, I believe it's for Tyler, actually. That he's trying to get past, but oh, Dutch has made an error somewhere. Yeah, he slid off of it, so off of the exit of turn 12, made a bit of an error there. But Nishka does get past Matty AU, but Matty AU is gonna try to fight back with 3 laps to go here on the night, and Matty AU is gonna try. Oh, Funk's got another penalty though, so Nishka can make up another 0.8 of a second. Nishka's got this race. So, welcome back to Hungary. This race has just added another level of heat. Nishka needs to find a second air in this next lap and a half.
Yeah, and I think on that note, it's probably a good opportunity to show the penalties so that people can get that visual confirmation with their eyes. And yep, Nishka is past the Matty, so he's got clean air. But Fonk obviously has clean air as well, so we'll see who can win with the clean air and Breadman, and one to look for the final podium spot. Can Matty hold on to it, or can Breadman steal it away from him in the final couple of laps?
So it is the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix here in Hungary, and it is still all to play for. Nishka does need to find another second if he wants to win this one. It's within the realm of possibility, so if he's got any battery left, which he doesn't, he's got like no battery remaining. What about Fonk? Fonk's also got no battery, so they're both just burning everything here. They know the race is on the line. They know that everything is coming to a head here on lap 69 out of 70. And, I mean, it is still a tough one here. But Fonk's tires are going to be worn out here at this stage. So, Nishka, he's losing time though. So, Nishka, he put up a valiant effort, but it might just be Fonk's night here. But another penalty could happen. And yeah, Fonk is actually pulling away quite a bit here. So Cristiano joins the penalty club, but right now our focus is on these two. It is on Nishka and Fonk. Nishka needs to find a second somewhere, but he's just not been finding that time. It is lap 70 out of 70 here. Breadman trying to jump up into the podium here at the last minute. Can he make the move? Can he get the pass done? Yes, he can. He's going to make it look easy there, but Matty's going to try to hold on to defense, but he just does not have the tire grip to make it stick. As it is now the final race, or final lap of the Grand Prix here. Nishka is closing the gap a little bit, but it might not be enough. It's really going to come down to this second. It's going to come down to the second sector. Who is better in the second sector? Whoever pulls this off is likely going to get the win. It is fluctuating. That gap is just so close. It is right there. But I think it's too little too late for Nishka. And unless a penalty happens in the last two corners of the racetrack, it is Fonk's race here in Hungary. He's got one more corner left to go. As long as he doesn't lose about 0.6 of a second, which he doesn't, he's going to hold on to it for now. Fonk is going to win the Hungarian Grand Prix. The alternate strategy paid off. Nishka, he put up a heck of a fight, but he was unable to close in the gap. Fonk wins here by half a second. Breadman rounding out the podium. And that is Hungary done and dusted. Fonk, your race winner.
Yeah, what an amazing strategy for him, because it looked like it was a fight between Nishka and Breadman for basically the whole race, and then Fonk comes out of nowhere and not even steals it. He just after his second pit stop just came out in the lead and put in the laps that he needed to, and a bit of a scare there for him at some point getting that second penalty, and only half a second between him and Nishka by the end, but a win is a win nonetheless.
I mean, I know it's a quote from a Fast and Furious movie, but whether it's by inch or a mile, winning is winning, and in this case, whether it's a tenth or 5, it is a race victory for Fonk indeed. He is going to go ahead and just fly his way up, flying the cape for the Haas team. Haas, they needed these points so badly here. And we are going to go with the celebrations, and then while we're doing our celebrations, we're going to go ahead and at least get ready to talk to our podium finishers here as the champagne is being sprayed live. And then our race winner is Fog. Fast lap does go to Tazio. Driving today is Brian, with Slush having the most overtakes, and Bronco being the cleanest driver of the day. So, if Funk, Nishka, and Bedman would like to jump into the commentary booth, we'll go ahead and give you guys a little bit of a chat. We'll keep it nice and quick because I know you guys are drained, especially after this long race. But it is Funk ahead of Nishka, Breadman, Matty AU, Spud Muffin, Brian, Tyler Davey, Hugh, Tazio, Slushy, Zig Governor, Huddy, Bronco, Cristiano, Dutch Verstappen, Daz, and then we've had Ye, Rise, Hennessy, and Asif closing out the grid. So that's going to be it for the race itself. But if we have our interviewees ready to go, we'll go ahead and have a chat with them. But in the meantime, how did you feel about the race, Muzz? Because I mean, it was kind of an interesting one because it started off spicy, then kind of went down to being pretty mellow. Safety cars kind of spiked everything up, and then it got really hot and spicy right there at the end. So overall, how do you feel about the race?
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well there. Just a lot of opportunities for drivers all up and down the field to make positions up all the way until the final lap. So exactly what you want, and even in a 100% race where overtaking is a little bit tricky, especially on a track like this, was pretty good.
Exactly that. So we're gonna go ahead and we have all of our interviewees in. So we're gonna switch things up a bit. I know it's been a long 100% race, so we're gonna just do one round of interviews for each driver. So we're gonna start, and I'm gonna start with Bread, currently in P3. So Bread, you're still holding on to that championship lead, but I definitely think that you would have wanted more from the race. But overall, how was the race from your perspective?
Tough one. I think I've sat in dirty air for like about 60 laps out of 70, so it's good fun. Trying to get past Nishka, not many straights to get him on, but yeah, he just too quick at the end of the day for me.
Do you think you're going to have a better time of it at Qatar next week? It is a shorter race, but it is massive for tire degradation.
Yeah, big fan of Qatar. I know other people aren't, but yeah, I enjoy it. So keen to get to that one. Just glad to get a nice podium at Hungary. But yeah, would have liked the win, but happy to take the podium.
All right, last question before I let you go. Is there anyone you'd like to give a special thanks or a shout out to here tonight?
Shout out to Taz. He was on the right strategy on that first safety car, and his game crashed and pitted him. So he would have had fresh tyres on that first safety car in third. So probably missed out on a big result there and just got pitted for old hards, which is really unlucky. So shout out to Taz.
Yeah, so, and it's always unfortunate when that happens. But once again, congratulations on the podium, and we will see you in Qatar.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to pass Nishka over to Muzz. Ready when you are.
All right, Nishka, great race for me. Unlucky to not get the win, just losing out by half a second in the end. You're looking like the favourite for most of that race. Just give us your thoughts.
I'm gassed. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, it was a tough race. It was fighting all the way from the start. Brad was just keeping me on my toes the whole time. A safety car coming when it did probably didn't really help me and Brett out too much. Kind of brought some of those guys that were on the different strats back into the race there. Yeah, on the last stint there, I kind of I had Maddie and Toe in my sights there. Toe obviously on the mediums, and then I had a spin and I lost myself about 6 seconds. So yeah, that didn't help. As you can see at the end, but yeah, it was a struggle, man. Big props to Red there, P3. He had a fantastic race. It was pretty fun battling him. Yeah. So and then congrats to Toe. On that run strat there, got the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. Good sportsmanship from you. Final question for me: What do you rate Qatar as a track? Is it one of your better ones or one of your worst ones?
Yeah, I haven't done too much racing in Qatar, to be honest. So I don't really have a mass opinion on it. I don't. It's not a bad track to drive. I actually quite enjoy it. I'll put some practice in this week and yeah, see what we can do. See if we can go better. And hopefully, my teammate Brian, I seen he got driver today as well. Hopefully, without a quality ban next week, he can do some damage too.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully, you don't let iRacing get too much in the way of your form right now.
No, mate. No, we'll keep doing the F1. But yeah, iRacing good fun. But yeah, focus on the F1 here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you to Rekus because I'm assuming he's got a question for you.
I'm just gonna go ahead and just say congratulations and enjoy the P2 and get some rest.
Yeah, thanks very much, Rickers. I just want a quick shout out as well. Thanks, my engineer, Marzi, done a fantastic job again. He's really been nailing it last few weeks. So yeah, big props to him. Boxing me at the right times and stuff. So yeah, he's been doing a fantastic job, and also my TP teammate Brian. He had a fantastic race too, going all the way from the back to P6. So really good for him. Thanks, mate.
All right, last but most certainly not least, probably one of the most popular race winners in recent times. It is the Funk Miser himself, Mr. Toe. So, Toe, you went on an alternate strategy compared to everybody else, and you won. It was a bit of a nail biter
Yeah.
after that second penalty, but overall, how was the race from your perspective?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, had a bit of a bad start, dropped down a couple of positions, but I had the pace. I could tell that I could definitely get up into that top five. And honestly, the hards felt really good at the start, to be honest, compared to everybody around me. I felt like I was getting past. I had a little bit of a situation. The Williams ahead spun. I got a little bit of damage and on the first stint. So I boxed a bit earlier, but it actually worked out really well. Safety car, honestly, was really good. Obviously, unfortunate for that Alpine. He probably would have been up there. I would have probably been fighting him at the very end. So pretty disappointing for him, but, I guess, I don't know, kept up the pace. Got a couple of, well, two penalties. One at the end wasn't nice, but, held it, got the win, and I'm pretty happy.
Do you think you'll have the pace next week in Qatar as well, or do you think that's gonna be a bit of a struggle track for you?
I'll see. I probably won't be as good as I was here, but, you never know. Strategy can change everything, put you in better positions and stuff like that, so I'll just do what I can.
All right, last question before I let you go here. Is there anybody you'd like to give a special thanks or a shout out to here tonight?
Actually, yeah, a few. So I'm gonna start off with Funk. Funk gets me through a lot of things. I'm gonna start second with Camos, Super Duck, and Priza. They supported me to the very end. They watched this race, watched me. Shout out Huddy. He got robbed by a disconnect. And then I just want to say, Connor, eat that, bro. That's all.
You'll love to see the banter here. Well, once again, congratulations on the win, and we will see you next week in Qatar. Alrighty, guys, that's going to go ahead and wrap things up here in Rush Racing League. It has been Div3 Hungary. It has been a race that is, every time we thought it might have just calmed down, it definitely threw a spanner into the works, whether it's a safety car, whether it's a penalty, whether it's a clever strategy call that really shook things up. things were never certain until even up until the final lap. So, Muzz, any final words before we go ahead and sunset the stream here?
My final thoughts are just that uh, watch out because there's a few drivers on pretty good form lately in Div3. So people like Bread and those drivers higher up in the standings, I'll be watching out for people like Niska who are on a pretty good run lately. So we'll see what they can do in the back half of the season.
Indeed, and you guys will definitely want to keep an eye on how the battle is progressing as well. Be sure to drop a follow if you are brand new. If it is your first time, don't make it your last. Go ahead and also check us out on our YouTube so you can watch back all of the race VODs at a later time if you want to relive some of the peak action that we have here across the divisions, across the different racing circuits. But that is going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Next week, we are heading to Qatar. It is a track with very high tire degradation, so tire management is going to be super duper crucial. A massive thank you to all of our sponsors with Sim Racing Center, SimLab, Pagny and Advanced Simulation, and AI369. And of course, thank you to everybody in the Twitch chat for being as awesome as always. On behalf of Muzz, my name has been Patrick Coleman, aka Rekus, and we have been your hosts and commentators for tonight's Grand Prix. Tune in next week when the desert temps are high and the tire degradation is even higher as we head to the Losail International Circuit. Stay hydrated and have a good night. Goodbye.